Welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business. What up, y'all? Welcome to another bonus episode of Hip Hop Now Podcast. I am your host, Vegas. As usual, appreciate everybody listening on the audio side via Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, all that good stuff. And big special shout out to those who support right here on YouTube. 30K strong, 50, why not? But slowly but surely we'll get there. You know, we're doing some other things though. We're thinking about other stuff at the same time. But as you know, when we do something special on this podcast, whether it's just me or somebody else coming along, as you can see, we throw up the ox signal, okay? Before I tell everybody what we're doing, as if they don't already know, what's good, man?
Man, everything good, man. Everything good, man. Thank you for having me, man, once again, man. Good to be here.
No problem, man. And so for those who are watching and listening, 2026 is 30 years since 1996. And we've seen it a million times over and over and over again. When somebody puts up that picture of all the hip hop albums that dropped in 96, it's crazy because it's a lot of albums that most people consider classics, a lot of albums. So what I thought of doing was, okay, well, maybe I should re-review some of these albums from 1996. But then I started to think about it and I was like, well, I can't do all of them. I don't have that kind of time. So maybe I could pick 12. So once a month, you will get a special like this where we'll highlight an album from 1996, talk about it, reminisce, break down some of the things we like or even dislike about the albums, and how do these albums sound today? That's the most important part. So every month, I'm going to have a guest with me to get another perspective on the album. Also, I want you to go in the comment section and give your review, not only of the time, if you was outside, or even the first time you heard it, even if you weren't around when it dropped, but also how you feel about the album today. So the first album in this series of 12, once a month, remember that, we're going to do a twofer, right? 2 for 5. Niggas got garbage down the way. Okay, that's what we doing. 2, because this is probably the most important thing that happened amongst all the great things that happened in 96. Tupac Shakur, and I'm not going to give you a detailed timeline. You're going to put that in the comment section, you know, if I'm off. But I believe Tupac was released. If not early 96, definitely right before it. Signed to Death Row, got right in the booth. We've all heard the story. Started recording like crazy, working with all the Death Row cats like crazy. Then all of a sudden we got the first of 2 offerings, right? But one dropped in February and the other one dropped in September. And in between all of that, all of the things, all them documentaries you watch, whether it's on YouTube and movies and stuff like that, keep in mind, this part of Tupac's career all happened in 1 year. In 96.
Crazy.
Before we even got to the end, he was already gone.
Crazy.
2 albums, platinum. I believe this is the first time in hip hop, platinum within the first year. Now, we know in 98, DMX came aboard and did it. I think what's special about what DMX did in 98 was the fact that he was a new artist who dropped 2 albums in 1998 and went platinum, but Pac was first. And it was crazy. All of this in 1 year. So let's just start at the top with the first album. I don't know why my phone is spazzing. First album is All Eyez on Me, which dropped in February 13th, 1996. 27 songs. Obviously, some of those might be skits here and there. 2 hours and 12 minutes long. Now, for somebody out there who's used to these quick albums, you might be like, God damn, what? Y'all was listening to that? Like, we were into the double albums because we didn't get them that often. You know what I'm saying? So for Pac, Me Against the World was out. He went to jail, all of that stuff. He was in prison writing, okay? And he probably had some other stuff. So he figured, him and Death Row figured, yo, we just gonna drop a double album out the gate. So I'm gonna come to you about this. When you first heard about a new Tupac album, All Eyez on Me, on the way, were you a Pac fan, a big fan? Were you anticipating this album? What was Tupac for you prior to the release of All Eyez on Me?
Yeah, man. I thought Tupac was good. You know, it's crazy. It's like, oh, yo, that's Tupac. He was just within, to me, the zeitgeist of hip hop. Like, you know, I wasn't a super fan, and we'll get to that in a few. You know, but I always thought Tupac music was good. Like Brenda's Got a Baby. You know what I'm saying? Dear Mama. You know, he was just within the zeitgeist. Thug Life. He was just within the zeitgeist.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when all the drama was happening, it's just like, yo, that's Pop. And then, you know, when the word, because no internet, y'all, you know, so when the word
Right.
was no internet, and mind you, you know, like, yo, I was 15 when all of this was happening. So no internet, 15, but rumors. And if you're in the hip hop culture and you love hip hop, like the word was getting around. So, and this is what I'm gonna need you to help me with, Vegas. So when the word got out that he was dropping a double album,
Mm-hmm.
my take on it, I'm thinking back, was, oh, well, I didn't know that had been done before in hip hop.
Mm.
So that was one. And then two, again, it was just like, oh yeah, well, you know, it's Pop. So, you know, gotta show out. Like, yo, he dropping a double. Like, that's how he feel, you know. But yeah, like my initial thoughts regarding Tupac was like, yo, he made good music. You know, he was something to put on. Thought he was dope. You know, I just
Mm-hmm.
thought Tupac was good. Like, now I will say, in comparison to like Nas, or like what was going on with like Wu-Tang Clan, like I will say that Tupac, to me, it was almost like he was a little old school,
Mm.
but he was young. So it's like, yo, well, he been around. So like I say, he was in the zeitgeist. Like, oh, well, that's Pop, you
Right.
know. But it's like Me Against the World, which was dope. But the idea of the double album, that immediately struck me as, oh, okay, well, that's different, you know, and that's kind of, I know that wasn't the slang at the time, but that's extra. That's like a big deal.
Right.
So that's how I saw it when I first heard about
Yeah, if there was a double album before this, I think the difference is it wasn't high profile. It wasn't a high profile artist like Tupac. Like Tupac was super popular. I felt like because Tupac, with all the controversy and he got shot before, and like he just had a lot going on, and also he was a film star. You know what I'm saying? Like his name was just a higher profile than most, especially for the controversy.
it.
So I felt like if there was a double album before Pac, I think only some people would know, right? Like it got to be somebody like, and this ain't a a punch at them like 8 Ball and MJ, what you call it,
JG.
MJG, right? Like somebody might say they did it or Too Short did it or something like that. But I feel like you know how this happens. Once somebody who's of a higher stature in their celebrity does it, it's almost as if people say it started with them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then also, you know, there's a lot of controversy with all this stuff that was on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, well, we'll get into it because there's plenty of it. But I know for me, the first time I heard or I heard about this coming out, I wasn't the biggest Tupac fan anyway. I love I Get Around. I remember buying that single. I love Brenda's Got a Baby, Troublesome. Like, I mean, not Troublesome. I forget the songs, but whatever. I wasn't a fan of Pac until I heard Me Against the World. Because then I was like, okay. And it wasn't even just him, because I liked Pac. I didn't like the way he stacked his vocals. It was annoying to me because it just sounds like two Pacs. Get it? Rapping at the same time. And I found it so annoying. And I thought he had a voice anyway. Like he didn't need to do that. Or at least, you know, lower one of those voices so you could still stack it without it sounding like two Tupacs rapping at the same time. So that always used to bother me. But when I heard a lot of the songs off for Me Against the World, I liked him, but then he went to jail and all of that. So it was almost as if the only way we were talking about Tupac is because he was speaking from jail and certain things he had to say and the whole robbery thing and all of that. So for me, it was kind of like I messed with him, but I wasn't like this huge fan. But I was like, I'm like, he outside, and I saw that cover, and I knew he was with Death Row. I was like, oh, this nigga about to start something. Like, I gotta hear it. And the crazy part is, and we can kind of get into the album while talking about the atmosphere of 96 as far as music. But when I heard Ambitions of a Rider
Yeah.
on the campus of Morgan State, I didn't have the album. There was a dude from Sacramento, shout out to Zoe. He was like the West Coast representative in
Okay.
there, right? So all the talk, like he talked it and all of that. So he know we from New York. He like, yo, you need to blah blah blah. And I remember he played that, and I was like, this shit sound crazy, right? Like it sounded like Tupac broke out of jail. Like it didn't sound like he made music. It was just like you thought he was in the box, but then he creep up from under the car somewhere. Like I won't deny it. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, this nigga here? He here? Like, so I thought that was dope. And then obviously the Red Man joint with Method Man. I heard that, and I'm like, oh man, now he got like a real hip hop joint with Method Man and Red Man. Like, let me listen. So when the album's out,
Yeah.
do you go pick it up? Like, what's the story with you in that album? And when you finally listen,
Yeah, man. So I gotta like you gave your take like being on Morgan campus, and there's that brother Zoe that was like, yo, so like my block, like I come from a Tupac block. Let me put it that way. Like I mentioned earlier, like I wasn't a super fan. I just thought Tupac was Tupac, right? But there was brothers, you know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Kenyon, shouts out to Tink. Like, there was brothers, hip hop heads devoted, like, yo, everybody else is good, but Tupac is the best. That was like the the energy, and it's just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like that's how y'all feel, that's cool. But, it would be this constant talk of, yo, I'm telling you, like, pop, pop. So then when I heard it or started listening to it, I was at my best friend's house, rest in peace to Jeff. Um, like he had the album first. And I just remember listening like, yo, this is different. Um, it's dope. It's crazy. And like it was punching through like I knew that Tupac was here to play. Like you said, I'm
Mm,
outside.
right.
Like everybody else was getting their stuff off and talking and rapping. I'm here now. Like that was my initial thought from the album. Um Listening through to it, like, again, like I was 15. So there was a lot of things, like, I had to just admit, like, there's a lot of player things going on that I wasn't ready for yet, y'all. Like, I was getting put up on game. Like, this is more than just about some rapping. Like, there's some real player things going on. But like you said, like the Method Man got my mind made up. I was blown. Like, I
Mm,
was like, yo, oh, yo, he got something with meth. Like, oh, Redman on there too. Like, yo. So the initial thought was, this is crazy. And that thought of, yo, well, Tupac kind of old school, that was out the window. Like, by the time listening to this, like, oh nah, like like I'm amongst my contemporaries. You know what I'm
mhm.
saying? Like, yo, I'm really that,
Well, let
and
me ask you this.
go ahead.
Do you think, like, being your age, he came across as an old school guy because he kinda made his mark much earlier than this, and
Yeah,
then he was kinda gone for a minute, so this Death Row ride was, like, fresh.
fresh. That's like exactly. That's a whole new
Right.
sound, whole new look. Like you said, that album cover, then with the chain, that was not Me Against the World, Dear Mama. Me Against the World was dope, and there was some, aggressive cuts on there. But I will
Mhm.
say that album was a little more introspective, and I'll say introspective. I don't want to say modest, because the braggadocio was on there too, but you could kind of tell like he was down.
Mhm.
This, oh, it's up. Like it was up, and the whole vibe of it. Like thinking back on it now, Vegas. Like, yo, you ever see that skit with Mike Epps, like when he's talking about Pop walking through Vegas,
Oh, yeah,
walking through
yeah.
the casino, like that strut.
The George Jefferson strut, man.
That's what this whole album sound like.
Yeah.
That's the sound of this album. Like, yo, I'm up, I'm on 10. And like, yo, whoever want what, like he rapped and approached the music like he was the best.
Mm.
Like, yo, y'all shouldn't have, y'all let me back out. I say less. Like that was definitely say less energy, man. So that's what I got from it. Again, like him doing something like, I'm big Wu-Tang fan. So him
Mhm.
doing songs with Method Man, and then later on, he's got the Bring the Pain joint, what I mean, later on, where he's like
Yeah.
he's basically interpolating Method Man's hook. It's like, yo, he in it. Like, is that, like I said, that whole old school, like he been around since like Juice and everything.
Right.
And that was like that was only what 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like in the context of that, it feel like so much time, I guess, when you that young. But yeah, man, it all that went out the door. He like, no, I was like, no, contemporary. He's in with what is going on right now, and he has his own like sound and style. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That was just as dope as everybody else. So that's what I. initially my initial thoughts of how the album hit me.
That's what's so crazy to think about with this album and him coming back. Like you were saying, he came. It's almost as if Tupac grabbed the attention of hip hop, like with this album and coming back, because typically when a dude get locked up and they not really releasing any, new material, or yo, I worked on this album before I went to prison, here you go. And I think some of that was Me Against the World, because he was locked up while them videos were dropping. So that helped. Ironically, that had a lot of momentum for somebody who was currently in prison. But I think it's the same thing as The Great Adventures of Slick Rick, like how that timeline works, where it's like, yeah, he was out, he was around, but really at the time that album was really getting accolades, he was already getting ready to go in a box, if not already there. You know what I'm saying? So his next couple of projects, he was clearly behind bars. Whereas with Tupac, between Me Against the World kind of keeping him in people's minds, um, and hearts in some ways, right? Because songs like Dear Mama's dropping, and he in prison, and then you find out that his mother was in prison and pregnant with him. Like, it's a lot of poetic stuff going on here with such an introspective artist. But like you said, if you've never watched Juice before, like I just said, Me Against the World, you remember Bishop before that? You're like, I like Bishop. You know what I'm saying? One of the friends, blah, blah, blah. They're getting chased. He's tired of it. Well, he was the other Bishop when he came out of prison. And that's almost not even a joke, because that's what everybody kept saying with all the dissing. Like, yo, he think he Bishop.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? He believe in his character. But yeah, I think also it's significant because everything we know that happened in 96, Tupac was able to come out and just jump right in the #1 spot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Before, he was a part of the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
This time he was on a main stage. Like, no, you heard what Pac said? It's kind of what it was. Real quick, Hit 'Em Up came out on June of 1996. So because I was trying to pin me being home versus being in B-more, June makes more sense because that would place me back in Brooklyn in order to hear the song, in the and then obviously later the video dropped. But let's talk about the album. I like how you said, like, it was just a whole different sound. And I think what people need to understand first and foremost from Tupac, he was born and raised for the most part in New York City, have a lot of family in Jersey, went to the performing arts school in B-more, then was out mostly in the Oakland area, but Cali in general, claimed that for the most part, but the influences is why this album to me is so diverse. That because I think it's not just, and he was saying this also, but I think some people will look at this as a West Coast album, but Tupac really wasn't just a West Coast guy. He said it.
Yeah.
But, all of those influences kind of come across, you know what I'm saying? Because we heard some West Coast albums. If you heard GNX,
Yeah.
you got to turn on a switch if you from the East Coast. Like, all right, this ain't boom bap, this ain't head nod, this is straight, you know what I'm saying?
Even back then, like Ice
Right.
Cube, like
Right.
is I like yo, man, in retrospect, I can say this now. I probably wasn't mature enough to really articulate it back then. But after listening to it again, this sounds like an East Coast dude, but now I'm on the West Coast getting money
Mm.
and I'm out here.
Like you just said, like the Ice Cube opposite. Like where Ice Cube went and worked with the Bomb Squad, which was East Coast Public Enemy sound.
Yeah.
Pac is like fully embracing the West in a lot of songs on here, obviously, but it's clear he's not completely a West Coast cat in his delivery and things like that. He's unique.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like I think a lot of what as far as the themes of the album, I wrote a few down. All Eyes on Me has got the bravado. Got the bravado. Competitive as far as in the hip hop space. Like, yo, I'm here to compete. Like, I also think like timely. Like, yo, I'm in the moment. Like that's why, like, yo, you see me rocking with like the East Coast dudes that I like yo, I'm a do something with Meth and Redman, and then later on in the album, like I'm gonna do something like No More Pain, where I'm like, using Method Man's hook. So it's like, yo, I'm sitting back in the joint and I'm listening. It's like, yo, I like, yo, them, yo, I rock with them, like, so you could tell, like, yo, he's definitely like hip hop, like
Mm-hmm.
it's in him. But like I was saying, like, oh, y'all gonna give me this bread and y'all gonna support me? And like, yo, I got your back. Like, yo, do you? All right, say less. Like that's what I'm gonna do. So you got the bravado, the competition, and of course, I think with this album, just a lot of game, man. Just a lot of game. I
I
know
didn't
you could
realize that
probably
going back. I was like, what is all these sexy songs on here? Like, I don't remember this. Like, I remembered one or two, but I'm like, there's a lot on
uh,
this joint.
yo, the All About You joint, man.
Oh man.
That whole
Instant classic for me. As soon as I heard it, I was like, now he talking my
yeah,
language.
that's what I'm gonna say. I know Vegas. I know with some of the game on here. I'm like, yo, I know Vegas. It definitely enjoyed that part of it, but yo, the All About You, man. Shouts out to my brother Tay, man. Like, All About You got a special place in my heart because, um, again, like, so after this dropped, this became the zeitgeist now. So this like impacted our slang. This impacted like some of how we saw life. So with that All About You, when I would be outside with my peoples, yo man, it was these two girls that used to just walk through the neighborhood all the time and they'd be together all the time. And of course, like I said, we young, we ain't
Right.
got no game. We trying to talk to them because two girl we see all the time. Hey, what's up? And I'm pretty sure they looking at like, yo, these dirty thugs. Just like, yo, I ain't like, hold on, like, yo, we quote unquote you scaring the hoes. Like I think we was maybe doing that a little bit. So I just remember my brother Tay just singing that hook. Like he started singing that every time we would see them at the wild. Like every place we go, we see the same two. So I got a special place in my heart with All About You, man.
That's what's crazy. It's a relatable song, whether you were a musician or whatever. Because
mm,
even watching videos, it made
mm.
sense to me. Like, yeah, I seen her in that video, and
When the famous outro from Snoop.
yeah, it was true. It was like, did they right? Like, I
Yeah, I'm,
did
I'm
see
looking
her.
at the Million Man March, and,
Oh,
and
tell
I
me
see
about
the
it.
same. It's like, that's the second song. Like we
The
got
second
evidence of,
song.
of a rider, and then we get into All About You. Like, yo, man. So a lot of game, a lot of ism on this album. I'm just again that overall Cali vibe, fun. You know what I'm saying? There was
Mhm.
the aggressive, yeah, I think the aggressive records on here was more so from I want to say maybe like competitive, like rapping. Like I don't really feel like all out going at somebody. Like he just more styling, throwing it up and showing that I can rhyme and I'm just as well, really, I'm the best. Like I think that was how he felt. It
Yeah.
definitely sounded like that. But more of a fun vibe on this. You know what I mean? Even with some of the aggressive records, like When We Ride was definitely him getting it to the Bishop bag for
Right,
sure.
right.
But it wasn't like, of course, what we're going to get into later on with Makaveli. But it was, I think, the intro. Like that's the first time I ever heard him refer to himself as Makaveli. He says it on When We Ride. Plus,
Yeah,
my
he
alias
does.
is Makaveli. So he starts it. He starts to throw, I guess foreshadowing. If we gonna get into some film stuff, he starts to throw those little teasers in there. And one other thing, as far as the timeliness. So
Mhm.
again, I think Pop sitting in jail, or maybe even when he came back home, listening to the people that he liked, like you could tell that he rocked with Wu-Tang because Wu-Tang, they had just with Raekwon the year prior, they just did all the Alias stuff.
Mhm.
Riley Fingers and Lex Diamonds, Tupac. Oh, we doing that.
Yep.
I, I'm with that too. Like I'm gonna
Right.
take it. I'm Makaveli. Like, oh, yo, what's that? Like, I'm
Right,
I'm
right.
gonna take it to a whole other level. So timely, man. Oh, and one other thing, big
Mhm.
records, big big records. Like
Monster
it
record.
just felt like, yo, I'm swinging for the fences. Like big records. I it don't matter what's going on. I'm dropping this, and the sound is they sound like big records. Like nothing to me on this is modest. Like sure you got more laid back songs,
Right.
but no, All Eyes on Me. There's no modesty on it on this album. But yo, what you think, man?
I agree, man. I think to your point of, hearing Ambitions of a Rider, to start the album. Also, not to skip it, but the first single being California Love. And that's when he was talking directly to the East versus West, or typically Cali and New York, right?
Mm.
Because I ain't gonna lie, and this is why Zoe had to come around with the album later, because when Tupac was like, where we ride not rally, where we wear chucks not ballies, I'm like, first of all, you showing your age, though. Ballies? Like Bally is been going, like that was the 80s, man. Like Bally, and you had to be able to afford them. But I
Mm.
didn't like it, not because somebody who's not from here is saying it. It's because somebody who is from here. And to me,
Mm.
riot, rally, what does it matter, Mr. Black Panther, kid? Like it's
Mm.
both fighting for the black folk. So I had a problem. My conscious part had a problem with him
Mm.
saying that, and because it was him. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? Like it wasn't some other ignorant dude who decided to speak on it. It was Tupac. Like
Mm.
if anybody knows Tupac. So I didn't like that part. But the beat was crazy, okay? Like the funk, I'm into the funk. You get Roger Troutman on there. I'm just like, that's what I love. That's why when some people say, oh, it's crazy how you from New York. You like all this West Coast. It's like, it's not just the West Coast. EPMD was my favorite group. You want to know why? Listen to their beats. It's all funk. Like I love funk from the 70s. And the fact that they were using that and EPMD was using that and they rock with EPMD because of that, like it was a mutual thing. But when I, like you said, with big records, and the first time I saw the video, the Mad Max video, I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. Tupac home. Like, this is crazy. Tupac just like, I'm home, Dr. Dre, let's get it. So there was a lot of, for me, there was a lot of energy. And like you said, when I heard All About You, that felt to me like a signal that, oh, Tupac's on death row. Cause this ain't no fun, doggy dog world.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes,
all
sir.
in that same pocket. And
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. And he had already obviously worked with them on the Above the Rim soundtrack. And clearly has some of the standouts on there, like Pain and Pour Out a Little Liquor and all of that. So we already knew it would work, but this was just like, man, this Tupac sound good being on Death Row. Like that's what it just sound like. And like you said, like Me Against the World was a whole different vibe. Even all those albums was a whole different vibe,
Yeah.
but this was just bigger.
It
It
was.
was like Blockbuster. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
I
this,
agree.
he did the indie movies, but now he got a Marvel movie
And
coming
he
out.
got. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like Star Wars, and then he does a song with Snoop, two of America's Most Wanted. Yo, you can't. I didn't even know how to dance to this. I might have been dancing like an old man or something, or like a fake gangbanger thing. I just wanted to fight. I just love this. I love this record because it was perfect. And even in the video, like Tupac got all the swag, like while the camera spin around, he like nigga, it's Tupac. I'm here. The dude was just infectious. You know what I'm saying? And there was just for context around this time, there was some of my friends, and Biggie's my favorite rapper of all time. Some of my friends was not trying to hear anything from Tupac. And not all of them was from Brooklyn or New York. It was just, what? Who he talking about? You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I felt some of that also. But I don't deny good music especially on the hip hop side. So I was like you, man. When I finally got my hands on this album and was going through it. I mean, I'm gonna just be real with y'all. Like, I'm not a revisionist history dude. There are some skips for me. There's some stuff where I was just like Ox said, old man, I was like, yo, this is for the players with them pants on and the gaiters and the taco meat silk shirt showings, like,
Yeah.
say stuff like, let me get my old lady, then I'm gonna call you back. Like for them, you know what I'm saying? And again, even though I was in college, I was young also. So there was just a certain level of that I was willing to listen to from somebody who's in their 20s, right? Like, why you doing this? You know what I'm saying? But just that derby, back then everybody with the derbies wearing them joints, with the patent leather shoes on, you know what I'm saying? Slipping and sliding. So to me it was fun. But real quick, let's talk about because we have a whole another album to go to. Let's talk about Nas Street Dreams and All Eyez on Me having the same exact beat, and an album that dropped the same year that we'll talk about in another episode, but The Message, Fake Thug, No Love, You Get the Slug, CB4, Gusto, yuck. Talking to Dre, like there was now Nas album came out later in 96, but there was a lot of references towards this album and Tupac. What do you think about the whole idea? And Tupac addressed it also. Just wait.
Yeah.
But
That's coming. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But what do you think about that? Like, even like for example, the Nas and Dre song, Nas Is Coming, where he was like, you know, niggas stealing beats and shit and blah, blah, blah. There were no other similar beats on high profile artists' albums besides the fact that All Eyez on Me has the same exact beat as Street Dreams. What did you
Mhm.
think about that when you heard about that?
Yo, man. Again, I think it was maybe the maturity with me. But I didn't think it was that. I didn't think it was that crazy. Like I just was like, all right. I didn't look into it that deep. You know what I mean? I think it just might have been my age. You know, I caught it like, oh, yo, they got the same. Okay,
Mhm.
they got the same beat, but it was more like, what do we want to listen to today? Like, or yo, we gonna listen to both. Like that was, I guess, my circle. Again, I had the brothers Kenyon and Tink, and I don't even remember them. You know, they probably would see this and be like, "No, I don't remember them going in like that." Like it was just okay. They both got the same sample. It felt like with with um with Nas, it it did feel like he was going for a hit.
Mm,
With All Eyes on Me, it just was in line with all the other big records. You know what I'm saying? But with Nas and Street Dreams, it felt like, okay, that I'm competing. I'm competing, and um, you know, I can make big records too. But
mhm.
I didn't see it as like it didn't strike me as, oh, yo, he went and I didn't get the ghost face shark biters. But I
Right.
didn't get that.
You know, for Nas. Yeah.
Yeah, like he bit
Y
off a pot. Like uh I didn't get that. And again, that might have been my maturity. I might not have been thinking about it that deep back then. But you
Mhm.
know, I like both the songs. You know, All Eyes on Me, Low Rider, Ski Mask, Screaming Thug Life every time I like both of them.
Right.
You
They're
know?
both when you think about what they did with the records, and for people who don't know, who, you know, maybe you weren't around at the time, you're only looking at the dates. There was no internet, but there were ways to kinda get ideas about how people felt about, or I'm talking about the artist, felt, because it felt like Nas felt an obligation to address it
Mm,
on It Was Written, because remember, All Eyez on Me dropped in February, It Was Written was July, you
mhm,
know what I'm saying? So it was
mhm.
almost like he wasn't making a diss record, but he was addressing the whatever, like, that's what I speculated on, like, it must be something more than just same beat happen to be,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, for that to be the case. But to Ock's point, they're two very different records. Like, Nas is kinda telling a story on
Mm,
his versions because it's Street Dreams, and
mm,
Pac, he just in the groove. All
mm,
eyes on me, live the life of a thug, nigga, like till the day I die. Like, it's just all swag. So it's like they work, you know what I'm saying, separately.
mm.
But I just remember, again, we don't have the internet, so we all like piecemealing everything, and there was always this thought of, damn, did Pac take that beat like Nas is saying, or did Nas come later and do this? Like, what?
Yeah, yeah. I remember that topic coming up in discussion, but I personally didn't look that deep into it. But I remember brothers thinking that there was some type of, but I just didn't play into it. Cause
And
like,
look,
go ahead.
this, well, real quick, this is what people have to keep in mind. Just because It Was Written dropped in July doesn't mean it wasn't already recorded a year or two before that.
Mhm.
So it was just a matter of what was released first versus what was actually recorded first. Sometimes it just plays out like that. You working on that album, especially back then, you might be working on an album 2, 3 years or something like that, and have that song in the can. And somebody say send a beat tape to Tupac, and it's like, oh yeah, that one. Like you don't know, maybe you didn't know. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, man. But it's like you said with that vibe of maybe Nas feeling like he gotta address it. Like, yeah, from us on the outside looking in, like, yeah, maybe. But when we find out later on with Tupac, no, you talking to me?
Right.
Okay, okay, like I hear you loud and clear, like, and that's what we get into with with the next album, right? But
Mhm.
yeah, man, like tension, temperatures rising, tension was brewing, tension was brewing, but I think it was like you said. Now I'm recalling. I think it was hit 'em up. That's why I was when you said it earlier. I was like, well, I thought that was just before
Mm.
Makaveli. So now when you went and confirmed it was the
Mhm.
summer, yeah, that was when everybody got something to say. Here's my here's
Yeah, we definitely gonna get into that one because of the timeline and the fact that we're doing both albums and everything is so linked.
mm,
Um, so in closing with All Eyes on Me, give me
mhm.
some of your favorite songs, whether you think this is a classic album, and how do you think it sounds today? Like if someone was listening to it for the first time and they know all these things about All Eyes on Me, what do you think they would get out of it?
Yeah, man. So it's crazy. So the 15-year-old me, there's so much material on this album. When I was 15, I did not do no straight listen through this album. I just gotta keep it 100. I didn't straight up put this on and we listened to me and my homie Jeff did not sit there for 2 hours and
Right.
listen to this.
I was gonna say, I was just looking at that.
That did not happen. That did not happen. What happened was the music was so good and you know, within our lives and within the culture, I heard like all of these daggone records with maybe except for maybe like two or three. Like I heard all of these records at some point given time. Like I heard all of these records. So that to me is a testament to how good it is. Now, all right, 45-year-old Akinola, all right, I'm gonna put this album on 2 hours. Like, I need some time. Like I gotta be like doing something, a drive, cleaning the house, something got to be going on for
Right.
2 hours. You mentioned it earlier. There definitely some skips.
Mhm.
Ain't gonna lie, there's some skips. There are some things on here that now I understand those player joints. Now I understand, but I'm a married man, so it's not applicable now.
Right.
Well, if I turn it on right now, but before being married and things like that, a lot of game, that hey, for the brothers listening and sisters too, like a lot of game from this album, Um musically, the musicality, again, I think that holds.
Mhm.
That holds. Like the production value, elite level. And I want to get into this when we talk about Makaveli, like this whole uh perspective on Tupac's production. That was always a
Mm.
conversation, right? But yeah, the 45-year-old out listening to this now, yeah, the production still holds. I would just say, yeah, there's definitely some skips on here. 2 hours, it's like, I yo.
2 hours and 12 minutes.
But despite all of that, Vegas, I do feel like this is a classic, yo. And I know that doesn't follow the hip hop head definition of no skips. It's got no. You can't stay in a classic if you skip. The impact of this album and the execution, I just think it supersedes some of that. And yeah, there are joints on here you in the mood for, and it's so much color. E40 and then the big, big sight, rest in peace. I got keys coming from overseas. It's just so much color variety as a hip hop head, listening from that perspective and just like in music, I definitely think it's a classic. Talking about ratings, I say a 4. On another day you talk to me, I might say 3.5, but 3.5 to 4 for sure. For me personally, for this album.
What are some of your favorite tracks on here?
Picture Me Rolling, man. That's definitely one.
Mm.
Picture me rolling in my
See,
500 Benz.
that's the grown man I could do. That's the one I could deal with. The sugar daddy joints, it depends. Some of them I rock with, some of them I'm like, nah, man. Like,
yeah, man. It's something about them guitars and the way, like, the way he coasting on that.
mm-hmm.
It's Picture Me Rolling. Like, it's really that. Like, so that just celebration, like,
Right.
and you got, I guess, people talking bad about you or whatever, but you just on your grind and doing your thing. That's what you press play on that. Picture Me Rolling. When We Ride, I definitely like When We Ride. That's like more on the competitive, posse cuts. I mentioned All About You, Got My Mind Made Up. Those are like my favorite tracks. I mean, you mentioned Ambition of a Rider, Shorty Wanna Be a Thug, Can't See Me. I actually thought, like, Can't See Me is like the recharge. Like, just when you thought, okay, like I had enough, Can't See Me just is like,
right.
no, we about to go in for another 13 joints. And it's like, you know what? I'm here for it. Like, that just turns it back up again. So, yeah, man, those are like some of my favorite
Yeah,
joints, man. What about you?
that was kind of the formula back then because of cassette tapes. Like when somebody go flip that tape over to the B side, like that first song had to pull them right back in. You know what I'm saying? Which is interesting when you think about albums throughout the years anyway, because it was the same thing with vinyl, right? You only get but so much on that first side. You got to make an impression. So the sequencing for each era of the media had to adapt in a lot of ways. And probably the same thing for streaming, right? Like there's probably a thought process that probably I can't say there's a template now because I feel like it's ever changing to combat, people just going and trying to grab stuff or skimming through things. So maybe there's something to that, but you're right. Back then it was more so like, we want you to flip the tape and keep going. And you know what I'm saying? Sometimes those records had to be that. Standouts for me, I said a couple of them. Ambitions as a Rider, All About You. Scandalous is one of them, Cat Daddy, let me put the starch on my pants, on my slacks before I put the shoes on, the slippery earls and walk outside. Like I couldn't even describe why I liked it. I just was like, this is almost like Prince would have made it or something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or Rick James or somebody. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think
Yeah.
that's why I was into it, because I was a big Rick James and Prince fan. So got my mind made up. Two of America's Most Wanted. Same thing, California Love. I Ain't Mad at You was a record that I thought was cool, but I forgot about it until the video dropped. And then I paid way more attention to it. It's probably the one song besides Ambitions of a Rider that I actively play. Like, I tell myself, like, I feel like hearing that. You know what I'm saying? And I know every bar, I feel it. Like, it's just one of those great moments of, this is Tupac's strength. Like, anybody who's, oh, he was wild, blah, blah, blah. Listen to this. Listen to what he's saying.
Yeah.
This is a sincere note to a friend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, from a world, maybe you don't know Aiden Ross. Maybe you ain't from that world. And people like him. But this is why these songs mean these things to us. Picture Me Rolling, like you said, and probably All Eyez on Me. But yeah, I also feel, despite me skipping a couple of tracks here and there, I feel like it's a classic for all the things we mentioned, besides just the actual music. It's one of them joints, as soon as you hit play, if you were outside back then, regardless of the age, you know exactly where you were as soon as you hear some of this stuff. So now, right before we go to Makaveli, we got to make a stop at Hit 'Em Up. All right. Now, I've said this numerous times on my podcast. I believe I wrote about it also. I think so. And when I heard it, I had the timeline a little screwed up, but hey, look, man, 2 more years, I'm gonna be 50, dog. Like, relax. But I just remember, like it was yesterday, and I'm actually like first time you heard it, but I remember like it was yesterday. You know, I was religiously going to Beach Street to pick up music, see what's new, just kind of like, it was my way of, while I'm at home reading the Source magazine, to go out and touch the things I've, read about or learned about, whether it's buying it or whatever. But another beauty of something like that was hearing records that weren't out. Like, before mixtapes really got heavy with Clue and all of that, early on, and Clue was around during this time, but this was a way to hear things by just going there, to buy music. And I remember the low talking, and this episode is already labeled explicit, so you should have got your kids out here. But I remember the low talking. I'm just shopping, and I'm like, who the fuck is whispering? Is no friends. I'm like, who the fuck? What? Oh, maybe this nigga testing something. All I heard, that's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. West Side. I was like, is that Tupac? I was like, yo, what is this? First off, fuck your bitch in the clique you claim. West Side, we equipped with game. You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife. When I heard that, I was like, nah, wait a minute. I gotta go ask the DJ. What is going on? You know what I'm saying? I was like, and this is before we could just chalk it up and be like, oh, that shit is AI, man. Get out of here. That's AI. No, not back then. DJ is like, oh, it's Tupac, he dissing Biggie. Before he even got to it, Mobb Deep, Chino XL. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what?
Yeah.
So, it played out, and then obviously we heard it, and I saw the video and all of that. And I remember the conversations with my friends. Again, some of them was just really on Tupac for dissing. But the number one thing they would always say, and rest in peace, Prodigy, he was like, don't one of you niggas got sickle cell or something? Fuck around like the heart attack. And we was like, what? First of all, I didn't know that at that point in time. So that's what was crazy. I didn't even know. I was like, what? Prodigy have sickle cell? And why Tupac saying that like that? And he not even identifying. He don't give a fuck. Don't one of you motherfuckers got sickle cell or something? And just before we go to Ock, like, my review of Hit 'Em Up, like, I like the Outlaws, but anytime I hear Get Out the Way, yo, I'm like, nah, man, just get this shit, get out of here. I only want to hear from Pac. Like, I don't care what y'all say y'all about to do. We don't know y'all. Who cares? But Pac was he was big brother and little nigga and like everybody. Like Little Caesar, go ask your homie how I treat you, cut your young ass up, leave you in pieces. Little Kim, I snatch your ugly ass off the streets.
Off the streets.
And that shit hurt her, by the way. She said that. Like, I was just like, wow. And then the hook was hot. I ain't gonna front. As a Brooklyn dude who loves Biggie, grab your Glocks when you see Tupac, call the cops when you see Tupac, a play off of Players Anthem, which was a hit at the time.
Yeah.
Ultimate diss record. Where were you when you heard this, and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I had to have been on my block, and the brothers outside was playing it.
Mm.
Yeah, it was like, damn, like, yo, it's on. Like, yo, they about to, like, like, yo, that was my immediate thought. Like, yo, I just knew, I knew Biggie was going to respond. Like, this is me when I first heard it. I was just like, oh, yo, I know Biggie's going to respond. You know what I'm saying? Mobb Deep. But I don't know what they're gonna say, like, because this was crazy. And then, like you said, that whole thing, like, yo, one of y'all got sick. It was like, yo, this dude is blacking out. Like,
Right.
he is wilding. Like, yo, but yeah, I had to been on my block when I heard that. And again, it just became a part of after it dropped. It just went in the rotation. But that's the crazy thing. Like, yo, with my circle of friends, like, yo, we did not. It's not like we wrote off everybody who he was talking about. We was expecting responses.
Right.
So I ain't gonna lie. Like, as bad as it may seem, but it's hip hop. We didn't know it was gonna get the way that it was gonna get. But we was just kind of like popping our popcorn, like, oh, yo, you heard what he said? Like, yo, it's about to get crazy, but that was my initial thoughts, man. But I did not have any like personal reservations like against I I don't know, man. I just chalked it up like it was a part of the game. Like, yo just going in, he don't like what somebody said, and now he just, the whole East Coast, I got problems.
Mm.
Everybody over there that's popping, you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I got problems with them. Like, that's how I took it. And I just looked at it like, well, there's air and opportunity for anybody to respond. This
Yeah.
was not me being grown Vegas at all. Like, now I'm looking at it now. Like, well, goddamn, like you said, what he said about Lil Kim is like, well, damn, like, that wasn't even true, bro. Like, come on,
Right.
like, but he wasn't trying to hear none of that. Like, it was on. So, and that just went into the firestorm of, okay, when and how, and is it better? That's when it began. But I can just say from my perspective, my circle of friends, we did not choose sides. We listen to everybody.
Mm.
In my circle of friends, I think there were some folks that was like, yeah, F the other side and blah blah blah. I mean, that next year when Biggie dropped, we was like, yo, put that on, like,
Right.
boom, boom,
Right.
boom, boom. We was like, yo, this is crazy too. Like,
Right.
so yeah, man. But that was my thought when I heard it. Like, it was crazy. And I just knew we was gonna get response. So when Biggie didn't respond, I was Like he said the slick stuff. He said the slick, get
Right.
it, Tupac's. And I was like, yeah, but yo, this over here,
Tupac yelling your name outside, bruh. Like,
it's like, that's cool. And I guess you on your player, but yo, this dude outside, like, he want all smoke, you know.
mhm,
And I just thought, you know, he was gonna get what he wanted lyrically, you know what I mean? I'm
right.
like, oh yeah, they ain't none of them gonna go for that. Like somebody gonna go back at him. Those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah, just for more context for the people watching, I'm a Brooklynite, and at the time, again, as a Tupac fan, even though I thought it was crazy, I was not feeling that at all. And it wasn't
Mm,
just because, oh, because he coming at New York. It was like, nah, it was just that I felt like Tupac was one of us. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
mm,
still. You know what I'm saying? I never felt like, oh, who's this West Coast nigga dissing her? It was like, nah, that's MC New York over there dissing us. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And then also, I ain't know and who shot who set up who. So we were still trying to figure that part out. But I was I liked it because it's the same reason why will always give Jay-Z props for the Jay-Z Nas thing, right? There's only but so many subliminals back and forths we can hear before somebody say, ask Nas, he don't want it with Hove, like, set it. That I come from that. Set that shit. No, we ain't gonna keep dancing around, dog. I don't like him. Like,
yeah,
how about that? Like, that's what I know that's where we from, where it's
yeah,
just like, you know, the tension, and then one or two things gonna happen. Somebody gonna get stuffed, or somebody gonna say something, and it's just on. So
mm,
I looked at Pac as, and in retrospect, I love the way he did it because he didn't start out yelling. Nigga was kind of talking to himself, and you could tell should I go there? You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers didn't warn me. Shit, that's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. Like, I'm ready, nigga. I'm outside. So that's what I liked about it. But also to the Ox point, you know, I expected, I remember with the Chino XL shit, I was like, damn, what Chino do? Like, I didn't know what that shit came out of left field. I was like, what the fuck? Fuck Chino XL. Uh, and I was intrigued, like, damn, but what did he say? But Prodigy did us justice a little bit later, you know, on an album that dropped the same year in the fall of 1996 on Hell on Earth.
mm,
I had the whole New York State aiming at your face, and it was just like, finally, you know, somebody said something.
mm,
But Tupac set it off. He said the thing that was kind of in the air that everybody was kind of all dancing around. And then we started hearing rumors of Makaveli, which, well, the title of the album is The Don Killuminati, The 7-Day Theory. The artist is Makaveli, which
yeah,
we all know is Tupac. But it dropped in November 5th, on November 5th, 1996, which, if you don't know, that was after Tupac had already passed away. But the rumors were there, and they just got heavier and heavier and crazier as you got to, like, especially when Tupac got shot, especially when he passed. It was, you know, he was saying some of this stuff, right? Wait till my album drop, Makaveli The Don. I'm over here, you know, East Coast, Death Row East was a thing that was kind of happening. It was
believe in Death Row
it,
East.
yeah, it was like he was barking over there, and now he like, man, I'm gonna come back to New York and bark. Um, and just real quick, we all know him and we found out later, but it's really been confirmed recently, is that him and Nas kind of you know, pieced it out basically prior to this dropping, and Nas was aware of the things that were being said, but we ain't have the internet. So me and I can't know all that.
We didn't.
Okay. We were just waiting to hear what's here. So Machiavelli, well, we're just gonna add all of it, right? Well, let me ask you this, right before, because it's tied to it.
Yeah.
Where were you when you heard, and what were your thoughts when you heard Tupac got shot? And then also, where were you when he passed away?
I was when he got shot. No, I don't remember where I was when he got shot. I think I might was in the house.
Mm,
I was when he passed. I was on my I was on the block. I wasn't on my block, but I was on my homie's block. We call it a cross track. So I was over in Park Heights when he passed away. But when he
mm,
got shot, I don't remember, but I do remember what I thought. Like, oh, he gonna be
yeah.
good. Like,
Mhm,
I did not think he was gonna pass. Now I'm like, oh, yo, he got shot before. He be all right. He be good. And then when
mm,
he passed, I was outside. I was on the block. I remember that. And I remember telling my other friends, and I like, who told me? I don't because we didn't have no internet, so it's crazy thinking back on it now. I think I might have heard it on the radio,
mm,
and then I was telling my friends like, "Yo, gone,"
mm.
on Ridgewood Avenue. Um, yeah, man. And I just it was surreal. You know what I mean? Like I did not expect to hear that, and then telling friends that didn't know, like, so
Right.
it was crazy. Um, so yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah, I think for me, it was the same thing. Now, the reason why I said when he got shot is because when Tupac got shot, I was in the club
Mm,
and the DJ stopped him, and I was in a club in Bmore, and the DJ stopped the music and was like, Tupac got shot again, y'all. Now the DJ was from New York, so he had some slick shit to say about him getting shot.
wow.
Like on some, off that hit 'em up energy, like, you outside talking like that. We didn't know the details. We didn't know he snuffed a gangbanger from the West Coast and,
Yeah.
a drive-by occurred. All he knew is that Tupac got shot and he was in the hospital. And for a second, me and my friends was like, damn. Because, you think about people getting shot. Um, almost some people make it, some people don't. And I know for me personally, I had friends that got shot and killed, and then I had my cousin like 3 years before that get shot and killed. So
Mhm,
every time I heard, especially at that time, every time I heard something like that, that's when my mind went first. Like,
mm.
damn, he's how many times? But then I remembered who we were talking about. I was like, oh, Tupac? 5 shots couldn't stop me. I took it and smiled like, oh, well, he gonna be good.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
which sounds crazy. And yes, we were young because it's
Mhm.
like, nah, you don't just go getting shot because you could take them. Like
Right, right.
this depends on where you got hit and what else and blah blah
Yep,
blah.
yep.
So we were on that same time. When he died, though, I think I was like in a dorm, not even our dorm. Was I in the dorm? Yeah, we were on campus, and like we was in somebody's dorm, and people were saying it. So we went and I guess like, and I could be misremembering, but I just remember this part. We went in like one of our homegirls' rooms, and it was right there on MTV saying all of it, like confirming it. And
Mm,
that's when it really hit because we were just sitting there like, damn, like all of this back and forth and dope records and disc records was exciting, but for it to end like this, something was wrong. You know what I'm saying? I know I
mhm,
definitely felt like something was wrong with that equation because as much as, somebody may not like Tupac and the things he was saying, I didn't think the brother deserved to die. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's how I was looking at it at the time. Again, not having any real info. I just remember that stupid ass interview with Suge Knight with the gauze and the tape right here, and he's saying nothing.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not really saying anything, but his eyes and his body language was just saying, we on the streets and people are going to die.
Mm.
Because that was the one thing I got from the way he was sitting there, like he wanted to say these things, but he couldn't, but he knew as an exec, he had to be there to speak about it. So it was just really eerie. And leading into the album, when it eventually dropped, one of the things that unfortunately I don't know about you, but most of us was thinking at first, do you remember Bomb First and how it has that? Well, of course you do, but it has that intro and it was like, listen right here. And it said,
Yeah.
"Yo, shot me." It's right here. You listen enough, you like, hell yeah, he just said Suge shot me. Now he might have saying shoes shopping. I don't know what the hell that is. But what did before? All right, two things.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that, but then also once you got the album, what did you think overall?
Yeah, man. So I think where I would take this is it's like with Makaveli, and that's what that's what I call it. That's what the homies call it. That's what we call.
Yeah, that's what
I
we
never heard anybody say, "Yo, the Don Killuminati, Makaveli,
right.
Makaveli." Nobody. We don't. We don't refer to that album as Makaveli.
Right.
So, but I know you know you had to do your due diligence because that is the real title. The
There's some
Don,
casuals out there who
yeah,
say
Seven
the
Theory, Seven
seven
Day
day
Theory.
theory or like a Machiavelli, nigga. That's what we know.
Yeah. So I would say that was like the introduction to like this really cryptic conversations in hip hop around music. Um, yeah, Tupac had like got on like Elvis level at that
Mm,
point. So yeah, man, I give you another story, like it's like neighborhood stuff, and rest in peace to my homie Cool. Um, at that time, when the album dropped, like we were during that time in the culture in hip hop, and Vegas, I know you know, like we would have like we would sit down and have conversations about this music, you know,
mm,
about the music that we like. Um, it's definitely different from now. I don't know what these little dudes do. I don't know what Kai Sanat and Aiden Ross, and I don't know what they do. I only know what they show in their streams.
mm.
And I just say it's definitely different from how we used to engage with this music. Like
Right.
again, my homie Cool, like if I was 16 at the time, he had to have been like 12.
Mm,
And like, yeah, I'll never forget. Like, this is some neighborhood stuff. We were not, we shouldn't have been, we should have been in the house somewhere. This was real late night. We should have been in the house, but we was outside, you know, and I'll never forget like him sitting down next to me and wanting to have like a show enough conversation
mm,
about Tupac, this album, and like, yo, you think he's still alive? Like, yo, we was
mhm,
having like a shown up legitimate powwow on Ricestown Road at probably about like 2 in the morning. You know, like, but like that's how much this album and this music was within our culture and it impacted us, and we would have these conversations. This wasn't like throwaway disposable stuff,
Mhm.
and that's why I say that's the difference. That's why, I ain't throwing no shots, but I'm just saying that's the difference. Like your Aidens and your Kais, like they engage with this music and this cult. It's not the same. So allow me a moment to get on my old man. Like, yo, it's different. It's different. So anyway, man, that's what I remember about the album during that time when it had dropped. Like that's when the cryptic stuff, and like we would have conversations about it, man. Now, as far as like the music, I just I yo, man, like even at 16, I was gonna say, like, yo, this was probably my most rotated Tupac album. It was Makaveli. This
Yeah.
album stayed in rotation from beginning to end. That album stayed in rotation. Like you got those zeitgeists, like All Eyes on Me was one of those too. But this album, and it wasn't, and I know people will have that argument. Well, yo, it's because he passed away, and because of it. I don't think so. I don't feel that way. I think the music was that good that's why it stayed in my rotation. Now, yes, there's the cryptic things. Yes, there's the things that make you wonder. But I think that his execution, the high level, and to me, this album was more chiseled, and
Mhm.
more focused. And it
Right.
was like, it was right up my alley. That's why it stayed in the rotation the way that it did for me.
12 songs, 59 minutes exactly. Like you said, focused. Whereas All Eyes on Me had a lot of dope joints and it had a certain vibe to it. With Tupac returning, you know what I'm saying? It felt like it was a good album, obviously, but if we could, we would shorten to the best of the best. Machiavelli was exactly that, but it was coming off the heels of a hot summer in 1996. And Tupac had directs and strays for everybody in the game, starting with Bomb First, right? Which is called My Second Reply, um, which is just crazy. And like you said, there were so many things about this album. And again, also coming off the fact that, when Tupac passed, we got the I Ain't Mad at You video with Tupac in heaven with Marvin Gaye and all these other people. So it was eerie from that sense because he had just passed and you get this video. Now you have this album and just like your homie, everybody's thinking like, yo, he said Suge shot me at the beginning and all these Easter eggs. And then, and we're going to talk about this one by itself. You get to the last track, which I think is a way better diss record than Hit 'Em Up, which is Against All Odds. Naming people who we like, that's not a Haitian Jack. That's some kind of Haitian rapper. Who's that? You know what I'm saying? Jimmy, who's Jimmy? Jimmy Walker? Who is Tupac talking about? We didn't have internet AI white folk documentaries to tell us all the things
Mm,
about the situation. And when he said this, he was talking about this, and this who that person was. Tupac was doing something and in a very different way that 50 Cent later on went to do, and it wasn't even a disrespectful track. He just mentioned the wrong names
mhm.
on record. Uh, but to your point, when his joint was coming out and when I saw the album cover, there was just this whole mystique around this project and Tupac and who Machiavelli was in real life. And it's like, well, wait a minute, this nigga faked his death? Like, it was just so much going on that made it all interesting, made you hang on every little word he said. And what's crazy is to live and die in LA actually has a video. which is also crazy considering, you know what I'm saying, he wasn't really around for the release of this album. Um, and it's a pretty dope video. It's just Tupac like, man, I'm just walk in the mall and kids gonna maul me and I'm a rap and that's that. But I just remember when this album finally came out and I heard Hail Mary, I was like, I didn't have the words back then to describe what Tupac was doing.
Mm.
This was almost like Scarface levels of mortality. You know what I'm saying? It was like Tupac came back again, but this time he had a shotgun and a lantern and shit. And he just like, come with me, Hail Mary, nigga, run quick. I just thought it was dope. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, I like the Outlaws. But anytime them niggas jump on, let's make the break, man, get off this record, man. Get the other record where Tupac let you start. Cause he pulled me in, pause, with this record instantly. I was like, this is why he's special. Like, listen to this. Like, when he heard that beat, what made him write that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's an artist, right? Some dudes approach things because they're them. You know what I'm saying? You know, twin glocks, blah, blah, blah. Nah, Tupac was like, oh, this sounds like I'm collecting bodies for the graveyard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this sounds different.
Mm.
Even the way he was using his voice. Remember earlier I said, like, not liking the double up Tupac. Not this one. He was
Mm.
all bass in the mic, like, yo, come with me. Like, so I really liked it, but like you said, I clearly like it better than All Eyes on Me. Clearly like it better for a lot of the reasons you mentioned. When you heard lead singles like Hail Mary, eventually Toss It Up, because I forgot he had a video for that also.
Yeah.
And no longer Gay Day, Dre Day, Ariba Dirche. Like, what the
Yeah.
hell? What did you think about
Yeah.
all of this?
That was crazy. Him dissing Dr. Dre. I was shocked at that. Again, like, I'm not picking no sides. Like, yo, I still like Dr. Dre. Like, but it was like the music, the song was so good. The music was so good. It's like, damn, you got a problem with him too? Like, yo, what did he do? But you want to toss it out? Like, yo, you still? Yeah, but I was shocked to hear that. Like, damn, like you dissed Dr. Dre. Like, everything was cool, but again, I just looked at it as like Tupac being Tupac. I can use the language now because we're in 2026, but it's like,
Let me throw this in there real quick as you answer,
mhm,
because I wasn't thinking about it, but we got to keep in mind by this time he had already worked with Nas and the Firm. And on Nas's Coming, remember, Dre was like, oh, this East Coast, West Coast bullshit. Let's get to this music. So Tupac was definitely ticked off at that because it looked like, well, he said it. He switched sides. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I ain't put those two together. That's true. That's true. It was still, it's just like, damn. like, like, I don't even want you over there. He's like, yo, you went over there. I'm like, yo, you with them? I'm bombing on you too. Like,
right.
geez.
And he had left Death Row by that time also.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it was some of that. But I was just trying to draw the contrast of we're listening to California Love and you hear all this Dre shout out from Tupac. And then now we like no longer Dre Day, Ariba.
Arriva
I'm like,
Dirty.
yo,
uh,
please.
yeah. And then like now, in retrospect, you think back, you I think Suge Knight probably did not was not against mincing any words. Like, oh, you want go right ahead. Like
Yeah.
you like I think there probably was, some encouragement there, like, yo, go, it is what it is. So yeah. But I like the song, and I wasn't gonna stop liking Dr. Dre. So it's just like, oh, he going off again. It's like you just let him go off. Like,
Right.
I didn't look at toss it up the way that I looked at against all odds. Toss it up
Yeah.
was still fun. Aaron Hall, Casey and JoJo, even though Pop, the energy turned up at the end, like he's still riding. But
Right.
it still was like a fun song. But this album was just more militant. Even on the party record, like, yo, I'm
No
militant.
records was safe.
Yeah, militant, aggressive, and just on wartime. And then you get those couple pockets in between where, I'll slow it down just a little bit, because I'm just saying what's on my mind for this particular song, but it still all fits. So, and that's why I wanted to get around as far as like production, because there always used to be like this discussion around, well, yo, man, yo beats. I don't really like yo beats like that. Like, what's up with his beats? And I remember, again, shouts out to my people's Jeff, rest in peace. We talked about that. We had a show enough sit down, and he was even saying, like, yeah, people be talking about Tupac beats, but like, yo, they different. They not gonna be the same as like Buckshot and Nas and them. Like, he got a different approach. And at the time, we don't know better. We don't know exactly what it is. We just like, it's different. But now, being grown, I know what it is. There was a more of a musicality to
Mhm.
his beats, like live instrumentation with the beats. So they were more fluent and built up, and
Mhm.
it wasn't like there was samples there too, and that hip hop boom bap part of it was there in a different way, but it was way more musicality that I think influences like what we see some of what today, like you mentioned earlier, like a GNX. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
this is direct influence to something
Right.
like GNX. So yeah, man. So I just wanted to say that around his beats, around that conversation. And there's always this conversation around him being lyrical or not, or like, yo, could he really rap like that? And it's like, yo, man, I think we confuse, like, yes, he had his style, and his style was to get you to feel the music,
Right.
like this theatric. I want you to feel it. But yo, could he get in pockets? Like, in my opinion, Me and My Girlfriend is the direct response to I Gave You Power. And it's like, yes, I got words for Nas, and I can get on my battle, but no, on my hip hop, like, oh,
Mhm.
I see what you're doing. All right, I'm gonna go do this with Me
Right.
and My Girlfriend. And it's like, yo, this is crazy. Like, it is a direct, you kind of know, like, well, yo, Nas did this, but yo, he talking about this is his woman, 45, but she's still alive. Like, hold on.
Right.
Again, I was just gonna go ahead and take that back, or just get you to come over here. And that's MCing to me. Move the crowd. So
Right.
this whole thing, I guess people want to revise, and I get it. Some people don't look at Tupac that way. I got it. I get it. But come on, yo. Like, it was there. Those things were there as far as technique. And then I guess we'll save the best for last. Like that, Against All Odds, I mean, that's probably, he says, the realest thing he ever wrote. That's probably top 5 Tupac song, definitely, if not number 1. You know what
Mm,
I'm saying? Top 5, definitely in the top 5. I guess on the hip hop, hibbity hop hop,
right.
rabbity rapping could be number 1, you know? But like within his catalog, top 5 songs, they definitely got going in. You know, Larry Holmes, Flabby and Sick, like yo, he was dumbing out on
He's
that
getting
song,
busy.
yo. So those are just like my thoughts, musicality wise for Makaveli. Overall vibe, wartime, I think is quintessential Tupac. Like you want Tupac, you're gonna get all of it in this album, right? Um, and bittersweet for sure because
Mm,
you mentioned it earlier. Like, damn, like yo, we got all of this, the delivery, sharp, you on it, like it even looks or appears like we got things to look forward to in the future or where you want to
mhm,
go and is gone because of the lifestyle that came with you know
right.
how he was approaching this music.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know like songs. Well, for one, let's just say this. The other thing with Dr. Dre was um Blackstreet's No Diggity was the original beat for Toss It Up. And Blackstreet wound up dropping with Dre rapping on it, by the way. No Diggity, which is a crazy beat,
Hmm.
infuriated Tupac. So he dropped this beat that has the same vibe with singers on it, but Tupac is letting it be known there will be no subliminals on this record. I'm taking a direct shot at Tupac. I mean,
And Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
So there was that. Then like you said, with me and my girlfriend, um, I'm not gonna lie. Most people that I know thought, oh, he's just gonna bite off of Nas. Like not a couple of months ago, Nas just did this. I Gave You Power was like the one song that everybody was talking about.
Hmm.
And now Tupac's doing this. But me being the Aries, I'm like, what's going on here? Because All Eyes on Me, same beat, Street Dreams. Then I hear I Give You Power. Then Tupac Spin the Block and come back with Me and My Girlfriend. I don't
Hmm.
think it was a matter of biting. Like Ox said, I think it was a matter of I got your chain. What you gonna do about it? And I'm not gonna sound like I can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like I could rap too. I could flip it on something else also. And the whole lyrical thing, I think, to your point, because I used to say that also, but I think it was just about the definition. And really, it's more about we could use the songs, right? I Gave You Power is a lot more about technique than it is about pure feeling. You know,
Hmm.
with the gun, it's more Nas is really intricate in explaining the life of this gun
Hmm.
and and tying that to something relatable like a human being, right? And
Hmm.
the feelings of the gun. Whereas Tupac is doing the same thing, but it's like I'm taking my girlfriend with me. And this how and sometimes she be yelling at niggas a couple times, you know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it was almost in any other situation where there wasn't somewhat of a beef there, it would be looked at as inspiration. And, you know, Nas, in my opinion, especially knowing his personality, would commend it because it's almost like an extension of that idea. Because
Hmm.
the thing would, I Gave You Power, right? Straight Bullet by Organized Confusion existed before I Gave You Power. And that was ill to me. Like they're describing a bullet traveling in the air, hitting
Hmm.
people and hitting things
Hmm.
before I Gave You Power. So
Hmm.
whether Nas heard it or not, that was the first thing I thought when I heard I Gave You Power. I was like, oh, this is like Organized Confusion joint.
Okay.
right? So, and again, when we say these things, like I said earlier, we just had different hip hop discussions. We're the heads, right? The heads are like, do you even know who Organized Confusion is? Like, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
Is one of even me saying the name, even if I never heard of it, if I said Organized Confusion, he'd be like, oh, those would be the niggas that do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? He would know. So I think in a lot of ways there was a lot of conversation around it, but Tupac was throwing in all these joints and these Easter eggs and stuff like that. And even songs like White Man's World,
Mhm.
where it felt like Me Against the World, Tupac is back.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
He
Even
talking
to
about
Let the God Know.
reparations on it.
Yeah,
That was
right? All the
30 years ago.
30 years ago, Tupac, the only one like, hey, y'all forgot this bill been sitting here. We're supposed to get these reparations. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, like really when you think about it as an album, it has a lot of the same things going on for it that were in All Eyes on Me, but just condensed. You know what I'm saying? Except for the direct shots. But let's just get to the elephant in the room real quick.
Okay.
The album is coming to an end. I heard about Against All Odds before I actually heard it. Like I heard niggas like yo, blah, 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 yo, blah, blah, blah. So I'm patiently going through Bomb First and Hail Mary. I'm like, Tupac got some heat at the end of this. Let me just listen. When I heard Against All Odds again, this was another Hail Mary moment. When he said this is the realest shit I ever wrote, I felt that like as an
Mhm.
MC at the time, I felt that like Tupac about to say some shit, and it ain't just ride on my enemies and Hennessy and all that. He about to say something. And like we said earlier, I didn't know. I knew of Haitian Jack, but I didn't know all the intricacies, and I didn't know what people were doing. Tupac was kind of the guy. I'm like, what Nas say? Little nigga named Nas think he live. Like when he was saying all that, I'm like, what happened? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Jay-Z, Hawaiian, like I was like, what's going on? But I think again, for me, hearing this record and all of these shots at rappers throughout the album, but it wasn't until he started naming the street dudes. And when Tupac said, you said, you can't go to war unless you got your money right. Well, I got my money right. And I was like, what is
Mhm.
he talking about? Like, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So when you first heard Against All Odds, did you know everything that was happening in the song that Tupac was talking about?
Nah. No, absolutely not. I just thought that that the dudes he was mentioning, I did think that they were street dudes. I didn't think they were rappers. Um, but I thought that now this has gotten more, but by that time he had passed away. But you're now, this is spilling into something. It's spilling into something else now. Like the rapping and being competitive, that was one thing. But like yo, you starting to mention these other names.
Mhm.
Like I think you mentioned it earlier. Like yo, I never heard of this guy as a rapper. So it was at that point I'm like, okay, like he mentioned it, like he getting into like legitimate
Mhm.
street stuff, and he's still bombing. Like he's still bombing. At that point he was already passed. So I think it hearing that, it was like, well, do any of them got something to do with him passing? Like it just
Yeah.
added more to the mystique. And again, just a lot going on. a lot going on, you know. And again, bittersweet because the song is crazy, but it definitely goes to show you like he had a lot going on, a lot on that brother's mind. He was getting jammed up in a
Yeah.
lot of things that didn't have, it wasn't music. It probably, the music is what connected him to those things. And because of hip hop, we've got this, it's innate connection to the street. Like it's just the good, the bad, and the ugly about hip hop. Like it has a connection to the street. And unfortunately, yeah, that man, felt that strongly about it. Where yeah, I'm gonna bring it. I'm just gonna express myself and bring it on the record too. But it's like, yeah, you going out a whole another path. Like, you know, we might not needed to go there, but he was expressing himself, and then again, by that point, he was gone anyway. By that point,
Yeah, and that's so crazy to me because I remember listening to that song for the first time and it was like a switch went off in my brain. Like, I'm listening to him diss producers and rappers and like the whole album. And I'm listening for some of that because he keep giving it to us. So I'm like, oh, well, what that mean? Who's that? Blah, blah, blah. But
Mhm.
like you said, then all of a sudden that song get much darker. And I'm like, oh, wait, who are these guys? And
Yeah, he
I
talking about
didn't know.
snitches. He
Yeah, he
says,
talk about snitches and all of that. Uh, but for those like who are watching, whether you were old enough but you wasn't into this music or into hip hop around that time, or you weren't even born. One thing that, and even if you were outside, one thing people got to keep in mind, because it feels like after Tupac died and after this album came out and all the theories about him being alive and who might have killed him and all that stuff, um, the Quad Studio shooting and the fact that Pac made a lot of people, East Coast too, believe that Bad Boy, Biggie, and Puff specifically had something to do with him getting shot. It felt like that carried forward after Pac's death, that scenario. The Vibe articles also did that damage. But here's Tupac on this record, set me up, wetting me up, but couldn't shut me up. But he not talking to them.
yeah, yeah,
He talking to Jimmy Hinchman.
yeah,
And most of us didn't know who that was. So it was kind of unfortunate because it was almost as if we were more comfortable going with the people we knew because of the celebrity than Tupac telling you in this record, this is who set me up, and this is who did this. So it,
and
again,
something
what you
else
say?
to your point. I mean to cut you
Mhm.
off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Something I noticed about this latest listen and preparing for our talk today, I noticed, and you let me know what you think, but it felt to me that he didn't even go at, to me, he didn't go at Biggie as much
Mm,
on this. He leaned into Puff and the Diddy, but he didn't. If it he there was no calling out his name. I think maybe Bonfire. I got to go back and listen, but definitely not on Against All Odds, where
right,
he had air and opportunity. But
right.
no, he focused, like we said, he focused on the specific people.
He
So
he also said it's not about East and West. But somehow that carried over, even though
yeah,
Tupac just said it.
yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah, right in the beginning. Mhm.
What so with this album again, 12 songs, 59 minutes, some memorable tracks. Tupac is on 10 before that was a saying. He was on 10 at the start of 1996. Like as soon as he got in there, it's like, whoa, 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 damn. What are some of your favorite songs off of this album? And you know, considering when it dropped, how it just stayed in your rotation, what was it like going back and listening to it?
Yeah, man. It definitely the teenager. It definitely brought that back. Both albums.
Mm-hmm.
Um Life of an Outlaw. I think that's like it's crazy. I just was talking about Against All Odds so much, but I just as as a teenager at that time,
Mm-hmm.
that chorus and that energy, this life we live as thugs, everybody messing with us, so can't you see it's hard to be a man riding with my guns in hell. Like that, I don't know, that like spoke to my soul during that time. Like, so Life of an Outlaw was one of my favorites. Me and my girlfriend. Um, and again, like, I honestly think that was an answer to I Gave You Power. I don't know if he would have made that if he didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
some type of competitive competing with Nas.
Right.
I don't know if he would have did that. Who knows, right? Against All Odds, we chopped it up on that for sure. And
Right.
To Live and Die in LA, man, like um when I visited LA for the first time as a grown man,
Mm-hmm.
that it was that song. Like
Right. Right.
it was it's like, yeah, man, you the weather, just the vibe, the view. It's I understand where that song came from for sure. It looks like, it feels like what that song sounds like to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So those are like my standouts. But yeah, I mean, quite frankly, the album to me is a 5 out of 5. Like there's no skips. Like to me, I could maybe skip just like Daddy, maybe, but like if I'm cleaning up or something, I let it play. Um, but I think this is like a 5 out of 5. And what's crazy, and I'm gonna throw it over to you, Vegas. But what's crazy in preparing for this, and I got the Wikipedia up, so I know the titles of the songs and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and the production and knowing who produced what. Um, I noticed there's always a section about the reception,
Mm-hmm.
and this was the first time ever I paid attention to any reviews
Mm-hmm.
regarding the album. So I read, and people like a 2 out of 5 for some of the reviews, and this CD
Word.
was just not good. I was just like, yo, yeah, nah, 16-year-old, don't know none of what y'all talking about. And
Right.
nobody around me knew any of that, because this was heavy, heavy, and be more heavy rotation. Cars riding by, heavy, heavy.
That's so crazy to even think about. I don't I don't remember. Like I don't remember what the source gave it. I don't remember anybody saying two.
Yo, it's on.
That's just disrespectful. Like, you know what I'm
Yo,
saying?
yes.
Like that it's just now I remember maybe reviews where it's they felt like it seemed like a collection of songs as opposed to a complete concept of an album. Um, but around that time, posthumous albums were typically like that, right? Like if somebody passed, not that many rappers passed away, but it was like, what we got left kind of a feeling,
Mm. Did
which
that
was
did it
weird.
feel that way to you? Like,
No, not at all. And then also, we know what happened when this dropped. We got Makaveli 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Makaveli Returns.
Yeah,
Tupac,
yeah,
we realized Tupac had way more music
yeah.
in the tuck than just this. But I agree. I feel like I like albums like this. I like 12 songs, 1 hour, mission statement. His mission statement was one thing. It was almost as like after a summer in 96 of some East Coast dudes punching back and maybe a couple of publications not really wanting to deal with him because feeling like violence was following him and what could happen and blah blah blah. And this was kind of like a diary type joint. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'ma just do these other joints. But standouts for me, you know, Hail Mary, To Live and Die in LA. I was just like you, real quick, and if you're still watching, we appreciate you. But I'll tag a video at the end when I visited the Tupac exhibit in LA, and which was excellent. Like, even from down to the section that had his like rhymes, and it wasn't all songs we knew. It was like concepts. Like, you could see his brain working if you looked at enough of those books.
Mm.
But the entire time I was there, I was only playing Pac, and it was All Eyes on Me and Makaveli, and I don't know why. I didn't plan that shit,
Mm.
but like you said, I think it was ironic because I didn't know that exhibit was going to be across the street from the hotel. It was just as I was rolling up, you know, I didn't see it at first. But in the morning, I went outside for coffee and I was like, oh, it's a Makaveli exhibit. But I was already, this is my first time in LA. So I'm thinking of every West Coast album and song and artist that I love. And I'm like, oh, I'm here.
Mm.
But the Tupac just kind of took over, excuse me, especially because of the exhibit. But what else? Me and my girlfriend, and obviously Against All Odds. Dope show, man. Uh 1996 Tupac. You'll
30
never see
years.
that ever again.
Never 30 years, yo. And we
30
were,
years.
I mean, that, how that, what a time to be alive, man. Like, we,
Mhm.
you know, that's what I was getting at earlier, man. You know, these streamers and these dudes, man, like, yo, y'all, I mean, you know, had your fun, but yeah, the way we engaged with this and how it was going down, and like, it's just different. It's just
Mhm.
different. And like you said, I don't think it happens. It don't happen again. It don't happen again like this.
That was just, it was just too unique of a situation because, again, I'm going to be doing this every month with another guest talking about an album from 1996. And honestly, when you look at all that was happening around Tupac's run, his final run, we didn't know it
Final
was, but
run.
his final run in 96, and how he was the main one throwing direct shots. You know what I'm saying? With some of his music, um, you're just not gonna see anything like it. It was a hip hop moment that was unique to that time and that artist. Now, for those younger feeling like, oh, what we have? I had Drake and Kendrick because we never seen nothing like that.
That's true.
Like,
That's true. Back to back to back. Y'all got y'all. Will I don't think that that ever happens again.
that never happens again. You have this battle that goes on like this, back and forth, and then you have just, we already know what happened, but you have the Grammys involved, the Super Bowl involved, the court system involved.
Forgot about that, yo. Like, that's so far away from my mind. You're right.
Right. And look, another rapper just being like, I don't want nothing to do with this. Peace.
Yo, I was just gonna try to like help to end it on a positive note to say, yeah, and you know what? All them brothers walked away and everything was, you know what I mean, in comparison, right?
Right.
And then I forgot, like, well, yeah, walked away and went to the courts. Like,
Call the cops.
that's
So we
crazy.
should be happy. Look, nobody died,
Yeah.
but this is hip hop. Somebody died, and we know who he is. He been trying to come back, and every time he come, this is probably the third podcast I said this on, but it's obviously it's like a study, but and it happened to Ja Rule, but with Drake, me as a Drake fan, having like my own little best of Drake playlist and all of that. Every time I try to go back, I like, all right, it's enough time, man. Stall him out, Debo. Let me play this joint. Soon as he start rapping, I'd be like, man, shut up, nigga. And I like Drake. You know what I'm saying? I like him, but it's something, like Ox said, it's something you'll never experience again. It's a time and a moment in hip hop that was unique, and anything else, it was unique. Like, you know, Jadakiss getting busy at the verses while we're dealing with a global pandemic. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those moments in hip hop that this is why we do episodes like this. So anybody who ignored the situation or had it wrong around the time, or didn't know, or you wasn't born, all of the things we said here happened in real time. And it's easy to look at Tupac off of all of the things you've learned about him over the years, but you don't know what it was like to have him outside while you're alive. Like, you can go to a show and see Tupac perform some of these records. You know what I'm saying? And know that there was tension in the air because of the East and West Coast thing. But nevertheless, 2 albums in 1996, get out of jail, signed to a record label, take over the rap game, go platinum with both albums, and all of that, you know, because he passed away. Nah, man, we just talked about these records. The songs was hot.
Yes, sir.
Hail Mary is still on the radio. Toss It Up is still on the radio in New York. When I listened to The Block, which is like old school joint, Toss It Up came on yesterday.
Wow.
And I was just like, this is an album that was whack?
Yeah. Oh, nah. Yeah. 2.5. I said 2 earlier. I'm looking at it. All Music. I ain't gonna say the dude's name. He gave it a 2.5 stars. Talking about it was like exploitive. Cause like you said, that whole posthumous, it sounded like it was like put together. And it's like, okay.
So that's a rating for the marketing department at Death Row. That's not rating the music. Saying it's exploitive, it's like, I mean, the dude was working on the album before he passed. They're putting it out.
It's not AI. Like, he did do those songs.
He said all of that.
He said all of that.
Right.
Crazy.
Man, good looking for coming through and breaking down these 2 albums and Tupac in general in 1996. Let us know what y'all thought about that whole Tupac run that year. You know, were you on the side? Like, a lot of people, you know, have revisionist history, but I know some people straight up like, Big matters and that's it. We don't like him. We don't like Pac. And they're not just dudes. One lives in my house.
Oh,
not feeling all of that. She's to this day. Well, this is why I like Biggie more. Like, well, nobody asked you that really, but you know, Gen X, we be holding on to grudges. You know what I'm saying? Like, I be trying to enjoy Pac, and she like,
get him out of here.
I like some of it, but Big say this and do this, and but so some of it still exists, but it's all hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Again, good looking out for coming through.
Oh, good, man. Thank you.
Follow me on social media at Vegas World INC. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to it in audio form or right here on YouTube, Hip Hop Now Pod. Subscribe. Definitely hit the like button because that exposes this podcast to people who would also like this kind of content. But remember, we're not critics, we're fans. Peace.